Doctor is back with the robot revolution, and I have thoughts, as always. So, spoilers incoming, because I know full well that I will just say everything. So, Nurse Belinda Chandra is kidnapped from Earth because a star was named after her in the late 2000s. Sure, I mean, good concept for a sci-fi. I think this episode struggles with a lot of good concepts that make their own really good episodes try to be crammed together. I think there's two stories. They try to do two stories here, and I think they should have stuck with the story they would go with at first, especially for series opener, personally. But I'll get on to that. So overall, I thought the episode looked really good, looked classic sci-fi. It looked exactly what I expect from a classic sci-fi, as they said in the Unleashed program, like on the making of. They took very much a lot of inspiration from like classic 50s sci-fi, and I can see why in the trailers, because there were a lot of shots of this in the trailers, why people thought the Daleks were back, from the disintegrator rays to the drone ship things. It all looked very, very classic sci-fi, and I thought it looked really cool. I did think that they'd taken maybe a little bit of inspiration from kind of another, like the Sarah Jane Adventures, with the design of the robots, and Wally for Polishbot, which I feel they were reusing ideas there from basically Wally, and also the fact they kept on repeating go polish, which is basically just them doing gadget from Waters of Mars, which I might not particularly love the episode, but I do think it's a stronger story. But anyway, back to the story, and it was alright for the most part. Sort of worked as a series opener. I just was left feeling a bit meh by the entire thing. It was there. Wasn't the best thing ever. It was certainly better than last year's opener, I'll tell you that now. But overall, it was just sort of there. And I don't really know how to describe it. There was a lot of stuff that I thought was cool and clever, and a lot of stuff that just didn't work for me. I'll try and keep myself fairly even throughout, so positives and negatives, but we'll see. One thing I particularly liked was the medical scene on the planet Miss Belinda Chandra. She just stuck herself in and got on with helping out, and which I liked as an introduction for a new companion. But I also love how she just doesn't take any of the Doctor's nonsense. Though I like how she does that, but I do think it was scripted a bit funny. It didn't come off across as quite natural. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes for the rest of the series. But yeah, I thought that scene was good. I loved how they got around the usual 2-heart explanation by having the X-ray blankets and the Kylie Minogue reference. That song stalked me, I swear. Honestly, every time I got in the car, it was on the radio. But yeah, I think one of the small things I've got a little nitpick about was, why did they kill a cat? They could have just killed one of Belinda's flatmates. It probably would have felt a little bit less mean-spirited in a way. But, AO, they did. Also, I absolutely love Mrs. Flood. I know she's in every episode and barely featured in this, but I'm just obsessed with Mrs. Flood as a character. Just just kind of so just mysterious and cryptic, and yet the fourth wall breaks. I'm just like, it's so cool. I'm expecting answers though coming up, so we'll see. I thought the design of AI Al looked really cool, especially in the pre-revealing him. I thought he looked cool, but I liked the metal thing. I thought that the kind of whole every 9 words, it was confusing to pick up on at first, because it just felt there were just random words inserted, and I will need to go back and kind of watch to try and figure out what they were saying throughout, because I found that at moments the little bits of, I missed some of them, so I couldn't quite figure out what was going on. Also, if someone says, "Oh, Doctor, take me to the stars," you're gonna get killed off instantly. I feel like that was just, it was a way of, I think, trying to give the Doctor emotions in this, but I really hope they don't make the Doctor cry in every single episode again, because it's already been commented on, like, this is a Doctor that cries, which, I don't know, showing emotions is one thing, but it is becoming a little bit cliche. That's one of the things about this episode that I found a bit Doctor Who by numbers. It felt Doctor Who by numbers, especially in this era, so I was hoping for something a little bit more, just a bit more. I don't know, something to make it stand out a bit more. We'll see. But my main issue with this story probably comes down to the big twist. Well, the big twist of who the villain is. Belinda's ex-boyfriend. I can see what they were going with, but I'd much rather they just stuck with just it being AI, because I feel like they were going to do this as a concept. It should have been. I feel like the way they did the twist, it felt like neither side was explored, because their stuff didn't feel. It felt like they could have done a really good AI story, and if they'd done more with their AI, or they could have focused in more on this ex-boyfriend and kind of the controllingness and the planet of the incels thing, which I thought was a weird line, a bit but if you're going to touch on that sort of story, I feel like it needed to be a heavier, more meaningful story, probably a bit later on in the series than your opening episode. I thought it was well acted, but I just didn't find the character developed enough to actually really feel anything. And I thought the scene where they touched the same certificate at the same point in time and space, I thought that was a cool scene, and how they, and the effects, that was weird, cool, but it reminded me a bit of something like the Three Doctors, where the Doctor fights Omega in that, and just with more kind of colours. I also think that the Doctor seemed very out of character, kind of that ending thing of just like oh, he's been converted into a sperm and egg, and then laughing when he gets vacuumed up. It felt a bit out of character, considering this is supposedly the same Doctor that several incarnations ago, when a Slitheen was turned back into an egg, was giving it to a new family to give it another chance of life, rather than laughing at it. I don't know, that's felt a little bit odd to me. But AO, yeah, I think it was an alright episode. I've probably forgotten loads of stuff that I thought of talking about. I don't think any of the side characters were particularly fleshed out a lot, but I can already see that in other reviews of this, especially some of the ones I follow, they'll probably be going a bit crazy over what's his name? Tank top guy. Lots of arm muscles. And I mean, decent character, but I don't know. I think in this, a lot of the characters just felt there. They didn't feel like they were actual people. They were just kind of background filling, dressing, which I hope isn't the case for the rest of the series. I just didn't really connect with a lot of the characters. I thought the whole Belinda taking charge of the narrative of getting herself taken to the leader showed how in control she was. Though I can see why they'd get annoyed, why the rebels would get annoyed with her. I think she's all right. Very kind of modern day companion. I'm just not connected with her fully yet. I hope I will by the time we get another few episodes down the line. So, yeah. I do like that she just wants to get home. She doesn't want any of the Doctor's nonsense. The Doctor can go off and investigate the connection to Mundy Flynn from last year's Boom later on. But I can understand from the Doctor's point of view that this wouldn't be the first time that coincidences have happened and have led to horrific consequences. So I can understand him being a little bit wanting to investigate, but yeah, I'm not quite sure what's keeping them from 2024, but we'll see. And yeah, I think I found the Doctor just a little bit off in this episode, but we all have our off days, I guess. So who knows? It's not up there with the best series openers for me, but I think it didn't do anything necessarily wrong. It just did do enough right to kind of engage me, if that makes any sort of sense. So 6 out of 10 ish, I think. And I think I'll wrap it there. I'll speak at some point next week as we take on Alan Cummings as a giant cartoon character coming out of the cinema screen in 1950s Miami. I'm looking forward to this one. So until next time, Alon Z.